Hello everyone, my name is Asyrafchazz and welcome back to yet another One Piece card game video. So as you all know, the full set of OP-01 Romance Dawn, the full list is officially out and you can see it in the description below if you want to look through all the cards and see their effects. But today we are going to take a look at every single one of the raid card from the main set and see what are the standout cards that you can use in your metagame moving forward. So you can always just look at the cards yourself. This is more for me because I have not really taken a look at all of the cards and I just want to share my thoughts and see which ones are good or bad, and then we'll go from there. And then in the future it's easier for me to do some deck testing once we have some feedback from the community as well. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribing if you want to keep up to date with more One Piece card game content, because on the 22nd of July, we are going to be opening our first ever booster box of OP-01 Romance Dawn, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys on this channel. So without further ado, let's take a look at all the raid cards from the first main set. Alright, so previously I was using the official One Piece card game website to take a look at all of the cards, but for today's video, I'm going to be using this website called Nakama Decks. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. We have followed each other on Twitter. I just want to give them a special shout out because Nakama Decks is pretty awesome. Them and also the One Piece card game.dev team. Two separate, very great sites. The thing that I like about Nakama Decks is that it gives statistics on what people are making so far. As you can see, most viewed decks. You got the Crocodile Baroque Works over here, and you can also see the most used cards in lists. And I'm sure the ratios will change once more people have put in decks in the site, but this is pretty awesome because it gives you a consolidated view of what people are looking at from the main set, and this is great. So shout out to Nakama Decks. One of the great things about them also is you can kind of use the site to kind of make your own proxies, because they have all the cards translated in English with English text. So for those of you who are waiting for the English release but you still want to play the game, you can actually use their site to kind of make a deck list and print out the cards yourself, so you can just proxy them so you can play them with your friends. So that's pretty awesome as well. So I'll be using Nakama Decks, so shout out to them. No, this is not sponsored. It's just my love for the community and them making this awesome website that we can all use. So Nakama Decks, go and check their website out. But I'll be using their site to take a look at all of the raid cards from the main set, and you can see I'm just gonna set it by red. And there you go, it's all done, and it's arranged by the set number, and they include all the alternate arts as well, which is really great. Okay, so first of all, we've already talked about the three leaders in a previous video, so I'm not going to talk about them in this video. If you want to know more about what I think about the three red leaders, or red, green, just check out those videos. Link is in the description below. So let's start with the first card that we've not talked about, which is Usopp. So I'm not sure if the One Piece card game is going to have some sort of sideboarding, because usually games are more best of one now, because usually games will take about 20 to 30 minutes to finish, and if you're going to do best of 3, it's probably going to take more than an hour per se. So I think what they can do is follow Flesh and Blood, which is another TCG, where once you reveal your leaders, or once you reveal the main characters on the field, you can actually do your sideboard first before starting the match. I think that will be a very great way to do this. And the reason why I'm talking about sideboarding is because Usopp's ability, Usopp is 2 cost, 3000 power with the range attribute, has counter 2000, which is great, and his ability is Dawn 1. On your turn and once per turn, draw 1 card when your opponent activates an event. So this card is actually really useful against, I would expect, Blurple Kaido and the Blurple Crocodile for the Baroque Works deck, because they have a lot of events that they want to use. And having Usopp on the field while you are facing against these decks would grant you 1 card on your turn when your opponent activates an event. It's a sort of a semi-advantage. And if you have multiple Usopps on the field, you can draw 1 or 2 or even 3 cards off them if you have 3 Usopps on field for some reason. So with that, I think this is a card that is great to be included if you know that your local game store, the meta game, has a lot of this blue-purple decks that uses a lot of events. Then Usopp really shines in those decks. You can even play him on week 1 in your deck list, just to kind of have an advantage in that area. It has counter 2000, so it's not really that bad as well. It's actually quite good to have. If you don't play against any of the decks that uses a lot of events, you can always just keep it in your hand to use as counter 2000. So Usopp, I'm a huge fan. Way better than the starter deck Usopp, and the promo looks good as well. Alright, next up we have Uta. Now, Uta is kind of surprising to me that she is actually in the main set, because she is a new character from the upcoming movie film Red, which I'm really excited to go see. And Uta is, we know that Uta already has an existing character card in the upcoming film starter deck, where she is purple, but this is a red version of it. And Uta is 4 cost, 4000 power with the special attribute, and her ability is on play, return 1 red character card other than Uta with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. So it's actually really quite strong. It works in a similar way to the Gecko Warrior card that we've seen from the blue starter deck, except that's not limited by trait, it's just limited by color, which is awesome. And you know, Uta has a lot of functions. You know, if you are having like multiple 1-cost blockers on the field that you want to use, you know, against the green deck, and you just keep you want to keep having them on the field. So you block, it goes to the trash, you play Uta, you bring them back, you play it again, and it's great for recurring those types of cards. It's also good for bringing back counter 2000 cards back into your hand and saving them for future attacks in the future. So Uta has a lot of use for it. Its stat line is also pretty good at 4 cost 4000, so it's not really that bad. I think Uta is a very good utility card for any red deck that wants to recur some of their threats. This is a great card. It also brings back like the Rush Sanji, so if you attack with Rush Sanji, your opponent gets rid of it, you play Uta, you bring it back, you attack again with Rush Sanji. I really like Uta, and I love her character design, so I can't wait to see where she goes in a red list. Alright, next up is Otama. Otama, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but here is Otama, 1 cost, 0 power, by the way, with the special attribute, counter 2000, which is great, and on play, one of your opponent's characters get minus 2000 power during this turn. Now, Otama is a very useful card, and I feel like she belongs in that sort of red-green law list. If you need to use Otama to kind of play the card and give one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power, so that it's a little bit weaker and makes it easier for you to attack into it, and then you can just use Law's ability to return Otama back to your hand, and then play out another like 5 cost or lower green card from your hand, maybe something stronger like a Basil Harkins or even a Law, and then you can just keep Otama in your hand for that plus 2000 counter, or you can play it again and give that same character minus 2000 power. You know, it brings like those 7000 power and above cards to a reasonable level where you can attack into it, and I think Otama is very useful in those sort of strategies, and I really quite like Otama's ability. I think there's a lot of potential with Otama, especially with that plus 2000 counter. She's not a bad card at all. She's actually really great. One of the best uncommons, I think, when it comes to red. Alright, next up we have Caribou. Caribou is 3 cost, 4000 power, the special attribute with counter 1000. And his ability is on KO, KO one of your opponent's characters with 4000 power or less. So this card, you know, has an on KO ability, so it really depends if your opponent wants to get rid of this card, which means if you have multiples of Caribou on your field and you can just like attach 1 Dawn to it, make it 5000 power, you can just keep attacking into your opponent freely with him. So your opponent, if your opponent has like a character with 4000 power or less, he has to kind of consider, do I want to get rid of Caribou and sacrifice that character, or should I, you know, just leave it alone and it can keep attacking you? You know, being an on KO ability, it really depends on whether your opponent wants to deal with it. I think maybe in the future we might have effects like, you know, KO this character and, you know, give this character X ability. Maybe if we have stuff like that in the future, then Caribou gets even better. I think it will be a really strong common, but as of now I think it's kind of like in an okay spot. I think it's not that great. I think it's just like normal, it's just decent, so definitely see whether people will put Caribou to use in the future. Alright, so this is Cavendish, 4 cost, 5000 power with the slasher attribute, and Cavendish is one of my kind of favorite cards because his ability is on play, you may return 1 life to your hand, this character gains rush during this turn. So definitely a really strong ability because like you, at the cost of only like destroying one of your own lives, and it then you put it into your hand. So it's a sort of semi-card advantage as well. It gains rush. So in a pinch, you might use Cavendish. If you have 0 life, I wonder, like, does the ability still work? Because you want to return 1 life to your hand, but you just have no life. So does this card get rush in that regard? So I think it does, if I'm reading it correctly, but let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong. Very, very good card, I think, in that rush strategy deck. However, I think it's best used in a red-green deck because it does have the Supernova trait. So you can always search it out with Bonnie in the future, which is great. But if you're playing red-green, you will have like 4 life. So are you willing to sacrifice 1 life just to give him rush? So you gotta kind of weigh the consequences there. But either way, in a dedicated mono red where you have 5 life and you need some sort of card advantage as well, I think Cavendish is good. I probably wouldn't put him at a 4, maybe like a 2 or 3 off, just to, if you have it and you have multiple life and you're safe, you could just play it, get rush, get a card in your hand and attack him. So I quite like Cavendish and I'm excited to make him work as well. Alright, next up we have the 2-cost 3000 power Carrot with the striker attribute with counter 1000 with the ability or with the triggered ability to play this card. You know, just the vanilla nice artwork. I think if you are a Carrot fan and you want to collect Carrot, then this is a card for you. But other than that, I think it's okay. I don't know how to evaluate cards with trigger play this card, especially when they have 0 abilities. We have to see if there's a dedicated list for it. Maybe the red-green law, like what I mentioned in the previous video. Alright, next we have Komachiyo, 1-cost 3000 power, the striker attribute with counter 1000. Just the normal vanilla, 1-cost 3000. It's okay, moving on. Next we have another character from the film Red, the upcoming character Gordon, which is pretty cool. So his ability is 2-cost 3000 power with counter 2000, which is really, really great. And on play, you may place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of the deck to draw 1 card. So this is sort of like card filtering. You know, you can get rid of a card that you don't need, put it at the bottom of your deck, and then draw another card. I've seen a lot of these type of cards effect in like the Pokemon TCG, and it does have some use. So, and him having like counter 2000 is actually really, really good. So definitely worth playing if you want to filter out your draws a little bit. Because of his weak stat line, it's just probably going to be dead on board. So I don't know, maybe in a red-green law deck where you can return him back to your hand because he has counter 2000, that might work. Yeah, maybe he belongs in that shelf. I don't know. I think it's good. Next we have Sai, 2-cost 4000 power, the slash attribute with counter 1000. This is your 2-cost vanilla. It's okay. I mean, vanillas are just vanillas. Part of the Hapusui army, so that's cool. It doesn't say like Straw Hat Grand Fleet. I wonder if there's going to be a subtype that has Straw Hat Grand Fleet in the future. I think that's pretty interesting to see. And with Baby 5 at the back, also very nice as well. Next, we have the Straw Hat Crew Sanji, 2-cost 3000 power, the striker attribute with counter 2000, which is really good. Activate main once per turn. You may add 1 card from your life area to your hand. This character gains plus 2000 power during this turn. Then give this character up to 2 Rested Dawn cards. So I think this card is kind of good, but it does require a lot of setup. First of all, you are adding 1 card from your left area to your hand. So say similar to like Cavendish, you are getting some sort of card advantage, while if you play in the early game, getting from 5 to 4 life to 3 life isn't really that bad, but you're putting your opponent into a situation where he can just attack into your life, and giving him plus 2000 power, then granting him 2 Vested Dawn, so he essentially is a 2-cost 7000 power with 2000 counter. I think it's good for an early game. Like this is like you just want like 1 swing with Sanji, this is okay. But after that, I think it kind of falls off a little bit. So you gotta kind of evaluate whether you draw him in the early game. But if you draw him in the late game, it's good too, because it's still counter 2000. But whether or not you want him early versus like the super rare Luffy, which we'll talk about later on, it's something that you have to kind of manage. I think it's just okay. It's not great, it's not bad. I think it's okay. Alright, next we have Jinbei. Jinbei is a 4-cost 5000 power, the striker attribute. He has blocker, no counter. And his ability is Dawn 1. On block, play 1 red character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. So I actually really like this Jinbei card. I think it's a really strong blocker at 5000. And it's a very good turn 4 play. You know, and if you can block with it, you can just put down maybe a Sanji that you can use in the following turn. You can put down Gordon. and then you can draw one, put down one card at the bottom of the deck and draw one. I think there's a lot of useful cards that you can use Jinbei with. You can even drop down more chopper blockers. You can drop down the on-play Nami to kind of like search your top 5, but you can only activate this effect if you're blocking. So if your opponent is playing around that, sure, you know, it's difficult to kind of make sure your opponent just hits into it, you know, but it's still a decently statted 4-cost 5,000 power blocker, and I really like. And Jinbei is my man, so if I'm playing Rain, I'm definitely playing Jinbei, so it's good. Alright, next up we have Tony Chopper, a 3-cost 4,000 power, the Wisdom attribute, counter 1,000. Dawn 1, when attacking, you may trash one card from your hand. Add one Straw Hat Crew type character card other than Tony Chopper with a cost of 4 or less from your trash to your hand. So you are essentially, when you attack with Chopper with a Dawn attached to him, you are replacing one card from your hand with one card from your trash that has a Straw Hat Crew type character card with a cost of 4 or less. So this is good at bringing back some of your rush threats like Rush Sanji, Rush Zoro. If you use it, your opponent has already destroyed it. You attack with Chopper, you can bring them back. Maybe you sacrifice like a card you don't need anymore, and then you bring them back so you can attack with it in the future. So I think Chopper is very useful in that sort of deck as well. 3-cost 4,000 is not that bad. Counter 1,000 is okay. So it does have some use. I think how many of this you want to run in your deck is something that you have to consider, because do you really want to run 4 choppers? Because you still have to sacrifice one card from your hand. You have to trash one card from your hand to get one card back. So maybe a 2-3 off, because in some situations I do think that I want Chopper to be on the field and attacking. So I think he's just like slightly above okay, but you have to kind of make him work in the list that you want to play. Next up, we have Nami, 1-cost 2,000 power, the special attribute with counter 1,000. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal one Straw Hat Crew type card other than Nami, and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. This card is great. This is the rare that you need for any Straw Hat Crew type deck moving forward. This is a staple, especially in the future if you get more Straw Hat Crew support in the future, and then this card will still work regardless. Definitely get a playset of this when the set comes out. It's just really useful. If you can spring for the alternate art, go for it, because the alternate art looks really good. You can see like right there. But if not, get the normal base artwork and get like 4 of it. This is like, to me, like an S tier card in my opinion. Just extremely useful to just keep searching. And you can take a Straw Hat Crew type card. So some people say it's character, some people say it's card, and I think it's kind of confirmed that it's card now. You can take events as well. You can take I guess to a certain extent stages, yeah, you can take events. So what I've seen like from Hibiki's channel is he plays Nami, and then he plays like in 2 years to Sabori off Nami, and just keep continuing to kind of cycle through the deck to find the card that you need. I think Nami is great. Definitely get a play set of Nami when the first set drops. Next up, we have Robin Chuan herself. 3-cost 4,000 power, the striker attribute with counter 1,000. Dawn 1, when attacking, KO one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So this card is great. I love this Nico Robin card, and I think it works in a very good Red Zoro shell, because if Zoro gets a Dawn, it gives all your characters plus 1,000 power, so it really bumps her up to like 5,000. You attach one more Dawn, it's 6,000. It's a good attacker, and you can attack. And when attacking, so the ability procs first when it's attacking, you can destroy one of your opponent's blockers, like one of your opponent's champ blockers first before they can even get a chance to block Robin. I think Robin is fantastic. It's a rare for a reason, and I think it's great. I would definitely get a playset, not any biased reasons for anything, but the ability is quite strong in my opinion. But where's the alternate art? Come on, we need an alternate art, Robin. Hello, Bandai, please. Alright, next up we have Hajrudin. This is your 4-cost vanilla, 4-cost 6,000 power, the striker attribute with counter 1,000. Giants, new giant warrior pirate, so it's pretty cool. Yep, this is just a vanilla. So let's move on. Alright, next up we got Bartolomeo, which is like one of my favorite characters of One Piece because he represents the fandom, right? 2-cost 2,000 power, the special attribute with counter 1,000 with blocker, and his ability is Dawn 2, that means having 2 Dawn attached to him. On your opponent's turn, this character gains plus 3,000 power, so it's essentially a 2-cost 5,000 a blocker if you have 2 Dawn attached to him. I think it's okay, but the thing is you have to give 2 Dawns to this guy for the ability to activate on your opponent's turn. So it's like it's a big thing. Like if it's 1 Dawn, I get it. If it's 2 Dawn, it's actually a really big sort of like investment just to make him a 5,000 powered blocker. I don't know. I think it's just okay. It's a little bit subpar. If it's 1 Dawn plus 3,000, I know it's a little bit strong, but that might make it even better. 2 Dawns is a huge kind of like resource that you have to set aside just to give him plus 3,000 power. And he might not be able to properly block against some of your opponent's stronger threats anyway. You can just play him as if you want to play him as a chump blocker, you can. I think like if that's the case, you just might as well play like the 1 cost blocker for Chopper from the starter deck. So I think this one is a little bit below like okay. I think it's a little bit subpar in my opinion. So I'm sorry, Bartolomeo. I hope you get a better card in the future, or maybe a leader, because I'm really excited to see more Bartolomeo in the future. Alright, this is Hyogoro, 2 cost 3,000 power, the striker attribute with counter 1,000, and activate main. You may rest this character. Your leader or one of your characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. This is what 1,000 Sunny should have been. God damn. Just rest and then plus 2,000 power. It's so good. I mean, okay, it's great. This card is very strong in my opinion. Plusing 2,000 power to one of your characters and even your leader is very strong. And if your opponent attacks into him, that's 1 less attack to you. And you can always play another Hyogoro. Like pretend he's a stage card. That's what I think. Pretend he's a stage card that can actually be removed. I think Hyogoro is very strong. And I probably would want to see if I'm running like 4 of Hyogoros in the deck, because I'm actually think that his ability is quite good for like a beatdown type deck if you just want to go Unga Bunga in your opponent's face. I like Hyogoro. I think he's a strong card. Alright, next up we have the mad lad himself, Mr. Frankie. Frankie is Dawn 1, Frankie is 3 cost 4,000 power with the range attribute. No counters, but Dawn 1, this character can also attack your opponent's active characters. I love this card, man. I really do like this card. I think having 4 of Frankie in the deck to kind of like pressure into your opponent's characters, I think it's really good. Pair this with the red Zoro leader and he's already a very strong attacker, like maybe 6,000 power after you attach 1 Dawn to the leader as well as this guy. I think it's great. I don't know. I really like this Frankie card and I'm excited to try him out. I think I'm rating him quite highly. Even I wish he had counter 1,000. I think if he had counter 1,000, this card would be a rare. But at uncommon, I think one of the best few uncommons in this set as well, at least for red. Alright, next up we have Brook, 4 cost 5,000 power, the slasher attribute with counter 1,000. His ability is Dawn 1. When attacking, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. This card is also another strong uncommon for the main raid set. You can pair this with Gomu Gomu no Jet Pistol to kind of lower down your opponent's characters power, and then if they are below 6,000, you know, if they are 8,000 power, you reduce it by 2,000, you put a jet pistol in their face and then you can destroy it. So I think Brook definitely very useful card. At 4 cost and 5,000 power, the stat line is decently good, and it also has counter 1,000, so definitely a really good card. I think he will definitely have some use, and also weakens your opponent's like character so you can attack into some of them if they are rested ones. Very strong ability. Next we have Marco, which is a 3 cost 5,000 power vanilla with counter 1,000. Former Whitebeard Pirates. That's just sad right there. But we know we are getting Marineford for set 2, so I'm guessing that Marco will have a dedicated leader card. I'm calling it. Marco will have a leader card, or at least a really strong character card in the second set. Other than that, this is just a normal vanilla, so it's okay. Alright, now we're moving to the super rares, I believe, or at least some of the super rares for red in the main set. So first of all, Monkey D. Luffy, 2 cost 3,000 power, the striker attribute with counter 1,000. Dawn 2, this character cannot be KO'd when battling strike attribute characters. And activate main once per turn, give this character up to 2 rested Dawn cards. I think this card is great. It's really strong, super rare for a reason. And the fact that if you have 2 Dawn attached to him, which you can use with his ability, it can't be KO'd by strike attribute characters, which is really strong. It's kind of like a sticky threat that your opponent can't get rid of. Now keep in mind, your opponent's leader can also attack into him, and on your turn it's just going to be a 3000 power character. I think it's a decent card to have in the early game when you just want to be, if you want to pressure your opponent and you want to have efficient use for the rested Dawns, then Straw Hat Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy is actually really quite good. And not to mention that he is one of the most sickest alternate arts out there alongside the Rush Zoro, so definitely really good. Wow, we're almost like half an hour in. I'm sorry for this video being very long, but this is Roronoa Zoro, 3 cost 5000 power, the slasher attribute, and he has Rush. So this is my favorite card so far. I think this is what the Rush deck needed. Just a very solid, like low cost, high power card with Rush. Unga Bunga, swing to your opponent's face. The best alternate art out of everything. I think this card is just really awesome, and I love him. I want to get a playset of this card for sure. And then next we have Gomu Gomu no Red Hawk. This is the red event card, 2 cost counter. Your leader or one of your characters gain plus 4000 power during this turn, then KO one of your opponent's characters with a power of 4000 or less. Triggered ability is your opponent's leader or one of your characters loses 10,000 power during this turn, or minus 10,000 power during this turn. I've already talked about this card. I think this card is really great. I think it's worth playing like a 4. I'm surprised it's that common. I thought it was that rare, but it's good. It's good. This card's good, and it's also part of the Supernovas and Straw Hat Crew, so it's definitely searchable with like either Bonnie or even like the 1 cost Nami that we talked about earlier. Good card. Next we have Roundtable, which is a 4 cost event card. Main, one of your opponent's characters gets minus 10,000 power during this turn. Now I've seen people talk about this card and I wasn't a big fan of it, but I do understand that it has a use. Like let's say your opponent has that huge 10 cost Kaido with like 12,000 power. You use this card on that Kaido, making only 2,000 power, and then you can attack in with your leader. So definitely has some use, and if there is sideboarding in the future, this is definitely one that you want to bring in against the like purple matchup, because you want to bring that high cost power down to like 0, because they don't KO on 0. They just get like, if they are minus, they just minus, like if they are 5,000 power, you give minus 10,000, they're just minus 5k after that, but they don't get KO'd. But you can bring their high power down to a reasonable level that you can attack in with your leader, so definitely has some use, this card. I've been kind of sleeping on it. I think this card is decent. Next is an event card, Green Star Rafflesia, 1 cost event card with counter. Give one of your opponent's leader or characters minus 2,000 power during this turn, and trigger activate this card's counter effect. I think it's okay. I think it's okay if you have like a decent blocker that can block through attacks, and then you just lower your opponent's power level down, and you can effectively block with like maybe a 5,000 power blocker like Jinbei. I think it's okay. It's not that great. I think it's just okay. That's my evaluation of this card. I think it's just okay. Alright, next up we have Radical Beam, which is Frankie's attack. 1 cost event counter. Your leader or one of your characters gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then if you have 2 or less life, that card gains an additional 2,000 power during this battle. Okay. And triggered, your leader or one of your character gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. This feels like a more solid upgrade to guard point from the starter deck. Then if you have 2 or less, this card is just essentially a 1 cost plus 4,000 power counter without the downside of Dawn -1. This is similar like Blast Breath. This is just a really good card to have. Definitely one of the stronger event cards out there because it's efficient. 1 cost, potentially plus 4,000 is just really efficient, and I think people will be running this card. I think people will be running this in the kind of main set era, and I'm excited to see how many of this card people play. I think 3 is a good number. 4 might be a little bit too much because but in the late game you definitely want to see more of this card, so maybe 4, maybe 3, I don't know, but I think it's a really good card as well. Alright, next up is In 2 Years to Sabaody, 1 cost main. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Straw Hat Crew type character card from among them and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, and trigger activate this card's main effect. I've already talked about this card in a previous video, and I've said that this is a must-get playset. And similar to like Nami, this is S tier. Definitely get a playset of this and put it in your collection. If ever we get any Straw Hat Crew support in the future again, then this card gets exponentially better. So definitely get a playset of this card. Regardless if you're playing Straw Hat Crew or not, just get a playset, get ready, get a playset of this card, get a playset of Nami, and just keep it. If you are playing Straw Hat Crew, great, you can use it. If not, just have it. It's useful to have. This card is good. Just have it. Alright, now I believe we come to the last red card of the deck, and it's none other than the secret rare Shanks himself. What a beautiful card. 9 cost, 10,000 power, the slasher attribute with rush, and when attacking, your opponent cannot activate blocker that has 2,000 power or less during this battle. This is one of the best looking cards in the set, and also a really strong card. I think for red, what it lacks is that kind of top end power. So Shanks can definitely fit into that strategy if you're like facing against if you're going to the late game and you have like 1 or 2 Shanks in your deck and you drop it down, at least you have a decent sized attacker to just keep pressuring into your opponent. Definitely really good. And of course, like, it's a secret rare, so everybody wants this, and I cannot wait to see if we can pull it from our booster box opening in the future. I think Shanks is a great card. You definitely don't need a playset of Shanks. I think 1 or 2 is enough, maybe even 2, just to be safe. It's not like Yamato. Yamato, you do need a playset. This one, you just 1 or 2 is fine. But yeah, Shanks is awesome. And that's it. I think that's all of the red cards from the main set. I mean, yeah, we can see like there's some promos, including the starter deck promo right here, but we're not going to talk about that. We already talked about all of them. So yeah, there you go. So there you go. There you have it. All the red cards from OP-01 Romance Dawn. I think I already told you guys what are some of my favorite ones. I think the 1-cost Nami Searcher and Into Years in Sabori are must-have playsets. Not necessarily if you want to play the Straw Hat Crew deck. Just keep them. In the future, when we get Straw Hat Crew support, it will definitely pay off, and you don't have to scramble to buy like these cards again. You just keep them. It's just a playset. I don't think they'll be that expensive anyway. And yeah, a lot of standout raid cards. Let me know which one's your favorite. I think for me, the super rare Zoro is definitely one that tickles my fancy, and I really want a playset of him. I hope the prices won't be too bad, but let's see if we can pull a playset from our box openings. Well, that's it from me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this really long video. I'm sorry if this video is quite long, of me just talking about all the red cards in the set. I think I'm gonna do one for each color, and I'll be uploading them in the next couple of days, so look out for that. Well, thank you so much. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video, and I really appreciate it. So go get some rest. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.